Imagine a missile traveling at more than 5 times the speed of sound. It is moving so fast that an enemy has only a very limited amount of time to detect it, track it, and try to intercept it. That is the basic promise of hypersonic weapons. And now the United States wants to take that technology to the next level. The Pentagon's research agency, DARPA, is asking American defense companies for ideas for a next-generation hypersonic cruise missile, or NGHCM. And this is important because Washington is not simply looking for another hypersonic missile. It is looking for a major technological leap. First, let's understand what we're talking about. A hypersonic weapon is generally defined as traveling at Mach 5 or faster. That's at least 5 times the speed of sound. But speed alone isn't what makes these weapons difficult to defend against. Some hypersonic weapons can maneuver during flight, making their path harder to predict. That creates a major problem for traditional air defense systems. America is already developing hypersonic weapons. The Air Force is pursuing the Hypersonic Attack Cruise Missile, or HACM. The Army is developing Dark Eagle, formerly known as the Long-Range Hypersonic Weapon. And the Navy is developing Conventional Prompt Strike, or CPS. But these systems don't all work in the same way. And DARPA now appears to be asking, what comes after them? The answer could be NGHCM. DARPA says existing technology demonstrators have already shown that air-breathing hypersonic weapons are technically possible. But there is a catch. Many existing designs are expensive, complicated, and difficult to produce in large numbers. And that is where this new program becomes particularly interesting. The agency is looking for improvements across several areas: speed, range, altitude, maneuverability, survivability, and affordability. The proposed weapon would be a hypersonic cruise missile. Unlike a traditional rocket-powered ballistic missile, a cruise missile can use an air-breathing engine during much of its flight. The technology DARPA is interested in is called a scramjet. Think of it as an engine designed to operate while the missile is already traveling incredibly fast through the atmosphere. But speed isn't enough. The real question is, can the missile survive? Modern militaries are building increasingly sophisticated radar networks, sensors, and interceptor missiles. So DARPA wants the next-generation weapon to operate inside heavily defended environments. That means it could need a combination of speed, maneuverability, lower detectability, and unpredictable flight paths. The idea is to make the missile extremely difficult to track and intercept. And this is where the competition between major military powers becomes important. Russia and China have invested heavily in hypersonic weapons. The United States has been developing its own systems for years. So, Washington is effectively trying to make sure that its next generation of missiles isn't simply keeping up with the competition. It wants to stay ahead. And the U.S. is not starting from zero. The Air Force's HACM is designed as an air-launched, scramjet-powered hypersonic cruise missile. The Air Force awarded a major development contract for HACM, and the program remains part of the service's current hypersonic investment. Then why create another program? Because DARPA is looking further ahead. The agency is essentially asking industry to rethink the entire package, not just the missile, but also how it is launched, how it is tested, how it survives, and how cheaply it can eventually be manufactured. The proposed system could potentially be launched from fighter aircraft, bombers, ground platforms, or other systems, depending on the final design. That flexibility could give the U.S. military more options for deploying the weapon. And here is perhaps the most important part of the story. Hypersonic technology is extremely difficult to build. The missile has to survive enormous heat. Its propulsion system has to work at extreme speeds. Its guidance and control systems have to function while the vehicle is traveling through a highly challenging environment. And all of that can become extremely expensive. DARPA therefore wants to avoid creating another weapon that is technologically impressive but impossible to manufacture in meaningful numbers. The goal is essentially high performance without an astronomical price tag. Because in a major war, quantity matters. With reports indicating towards low missile stockpiles, specifically depleted towards the Iran war, the U.S. will now want something that can sustain during conflict. The race is no longer simply about who can reach Mach 5 first. It is about who can turn hypersonic technology into a practical, survivable, and scalable battlefield capability. And DARPA now wants the next leap.
Nobody else has that capacity. These weapons are incredible. And we have to be very careful about letting somebody build them. You know, it's very important. Now, we are building many plants now to make those, and the Tomahawk missile is the most incredible thing. It can go into a doorway. You can put it through a window of a house. Nobody's ever seen anything like it. You have to be very judicious, but you have to be very careful. Now, we have not agreed to that. We're talking about it, but it's a hard thing to give away that kind of technology. And I don't think this would ever happen, but you know, those people that you give that technology, they can someday turn on you. You know, that is possible. You look at war, that's happened a couple of times over the years, right? Nobody else has that capacity. These weapons are incredible. And we have to be very careful about letting somebody build them. You know, it's very important. Now, we are building many plants now to make those, and the Tomahawk missile is the most incredible thing. It can go into a doorway. You can put it through a window of a house. Nobody's ever seen anything like it. You have to be very judicious, but you have to be very careful. Now, we have not agreed to that. We're talking about it, but it's a hard thing to give away that kind of technology. And I don't think this would ever happen, but you know, those people that you give that technology, they can someday turn on you. You know, that is possible. You look at war, that's happened a couple of times over the years, right?
If you like this video, then like, share and subscribe to Mirror Now.